At the start of this campaign, I said we would not just have experts on, and opinion leaders, but the average person to see what they're talking about in the campaign. And so we're doing that today. Although I have to recount a little bit that she's not exactly an average person because she is a recovering politician. Karen Stintz was a councillor in the City of Toronto, chairman of the TTC, a big shot at City Council, and you have not been there for years and years now. You saw the light,
yes,
but you still follow politics. So
I do.
Tell me what you think about this campaign, this election.
Well, I think this has really been an interesting campaign. And from even 6 months ago, I had predicted the Liberals could have a rough ride if they called an early election. And I was roundly criticized by all of my peers, just, that's nuts. Of course,
well, that's because you're dealing with all those elites.
Yeah, and they said, that's just nonsense talk. And I said, no, I think that the way that the Liberals have been governing over the past 2 years has actually been really problematic. And
give me a few examples.
Well, I think there's a couple that stand out, but one of the ones for me that was really impactful was when the Liberal government held Parliament in contempt. When Parliament asked for specific information and they were blocked from receiving it. And even the leader of the House agreed that Parliament was entitled to see that information. And they tried to sue the leader of the House.
Yeah.
Now that is outrageous government. That is outrageous. And for me, and it's that simple, it's a bit inside baseball, I'm sure, for many people.
It is a bit inside. It didn't get a lot of press.
It didn't get a lot of press, but for me, it actually encapsulated the way the Liberal government has been ruling for the last 2 years.
And if you're a backbencher, you should be complaining too, because of PMO doing that.
Well, and if you don't agree with the Liberals, you're held in contempt. And I think that is a problem.
Give me an example of what you think is a concern with this government that just the person in the street might think of.
Well, what's fascinating for me is that, it's a stupid anecdote and certainly not a poll that's, accurate within 2 or 3 percentage points. But, you talk about the water cooler, you talk about the talks at the dog park.
Those are the best polls.
Well, those are the best polls. And so, the poll at the hairdresser. And, again, something maybe you haven't been to recently.
I don't know about that. Go ahead.
But nonetheless, it was really interesting in that they were talking about politics and they were talking about how day in, day out, they've been hearing from people that they will not vote for Justin Trudeau. And what was fascinating for me is the reason they gave was because they feel that Justin Trudeau let down women when he said he would protect women's rights, and they don't feel he has. And that is so core to his brand. And that is so core to what he said he would do. And for women to be saying that they've let him down, for me, was a true example of how he hasn't delivered on his campaign promises, and he hasn't delivered on his brand.
So when people say that he promises big and delivers little, you would agree with that? I
would agree with that. And, and when you, again, taking aside the response to the pandemic, when you think about how the whole we deal was structured and lack of transparency and accountability, when you think about SNC-Lavalin and you think about the way that some of the people were treated who didn't agree with that position, when you think about the fact that 2 Canadians have been held in a Chinese prison for over 2 years and we still haven't settled the extradition matter, when you think about how Parliament is being held in contempt, when you think about an election that is called for no reason, it does beg the question, does this government earn another mandate?
Karen Stintz, you answered your own question. Thank you very much. A little bit more than 3 minutes. So now we are in the middle of Justin's vanity election, and all over mainstream news, you're going to have the same news day after day after day. We are not going to have every show between now and September 20th on the election. We are going to have some very, very important analysis and some smart ideas and thoughts that you will not find anywhere else, hence PayPal, please. But I just want to lay it out for you that we will also be having some people in on this show who are not big names, who have something to say about the issues. Because when it comes down to it, elections are not about the people so much, it's about the issues and how it impacts you. Stay tuned. We're going to have some good ones.